Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whomever may be listening. I am Richard Murray, and I am in the African American Literary Book Club, linked in the video description. Please join me or share thoughts there as guest comments are allowed in AALBC. Shirley Chisholm once said that finance, or fiscal enterprise, is the arena where black people need to venture most, engage in most. She was disenfranchised to black engagement in the government process. I take from her point that governmentally, nothing that was tried before in the black community in the USA led or will lead to better for the black community on large. Not a black individual or a small group, but the largesse, the majority of the black populace in the USA. MLK Jr. in the video below, link below, stated that fiscal opportunity to black people in the USA was nearest totally absent during slavery. The war between the states occurred, and black people were negatively biased during segregation as white peasants from Europe were allowed to kill each other over land taken from native peoples of the Americas, while black people were denied, black people who had been enslaved before the war were denied the same opportunity to fight for land while being terrorized illegally or legally where they lived, or legally where they lived, to accept fiscal conditions unfavorable to themselves. Now, some will say segregation is finished today. Some will not. I argue that if you feel segregation still exists today, then the fiscal argument MLK Jr. made holds true. If you feel that segregation is ended and the lack of fiscal opportunity is based on the natural competitive nature in fiscal capitalism, that in either case the point is following is true. The point made is true. The black community in modernity is blockaded from fiscal opportunity through a fiscal legacy from the English colonies to the 1960s, where they were denied through white power, and today are denied through a continuance of that legacy, side of continued white power, or a fiscal disadvantage from that legacy no other community has to face. Either which way. Now, I imagine many will suggest governmentally, Shirley Chisholm is wrong. Reconstruction era black elected officials, Adam Clayton Powell Jr., herself, David Dinkins, Cory Booker, Barack Obama prove that black government operatives are still worthy or needed or of great value today and tomorrow. But they miss Shirley Chisholm's point. Her point is not about inspiration, to bring the spirit into, or representation, to be a visual presence to a community, or a seat at the table. Her point is about function. Do black elephants, black Republicans, or black donkeys, black Democrats, serve the black community? The answer is no. Barack Obama is black. He was a black president. His wife is black. She is beautiful. He being Barack Obama, is a good guy. They inspired many black people. They acted to what they felt was the best interest to all people in the USA. Yes, all people in the USA, aracial. But Shirley Chisholm's point was not about all people in the USA. It wasn't about inspiration. It wasn't about stating who or who is not black. It was referring to who in government served the black community in the USA. And the answer is none. Do government or government officials in the USA have to serve the black community? No. I'll repeat that. Do government or government officials in the USA have to serve the black community? No. Does the government or government officials in the USA serve the black community? No. I repeat, does the government or government officials in the USA serve the black community? No. Now, I also imagine many will suggest financially, fiscally. Martin Luther King Jr., MLK Jr. is wrong. Percy Julian, Madam C.J. Walker, Motown, Philadelphia International, the Super Soaker, The real McCoy, LeBron James, proved that any fiscal blockades to the black community, while present, did not stop all. Sequentially, the modern situation can forgive or forget. But they missed the point. Finance is not the soul. Finance is a matter of counting, arithmetic, and it involved the factor called time. If someone burns your daughter alive, that hurts your soul. You can forgive or forget that if you want. You don't have to, if you want. But if that same person obtained free labor from you and your remaining children, after you die, your remaining children cannot forgive or forget the slavery financially. Why? Because the cost of labor through time from your children or you has a value that cannot be forgiven or forgotten. It is called a financial ledger, and even if ledgers are burned, fiscal evaluation does not lie. The person who burned your children's sibling has fiscal advantage that cannot be undone any other way than fiscal advantage. The existence to black business people is not going to undo the fiscal heritage, what you carry, from slavery or segregation. Yes, Oprah exists. Michael Jordan exists. Both are black. I repeat, yes, Oprah exists. Michael Jordan exists. Both are black. Both have far more money than most in any phenotype. But that is not the point. The point is, has the fiscal blockading from whites in the past been undone? And do black people have financial advantage now? The answer is no. It doesn't mean black people shall not start fiscal enterprises. It means that black people have an accounting negative factor communally born in the past that cannot be undone any way outside an accounting positive, modernly or in the future. Now, I also imagine many will suggest, governmentally or fiscally, the point from Shirley Chisholm or MLK Jr. is outdated. Some will say if you don't think of elected officials or government officials or the voting populace or general populace as any phenotype, then you don't need the black community to have agency in government, because the black community is part of the human community in the USA that include all people in the USA. And I say, if you think that way, you are correct. I repeat, and I say, if you think that way, you are correct. I add, that is not a wrong way to think. But does that answer the question? Does the black community have agency in the government in the USA to its benefit? And the answer is still, even considering no phenotype or other race in government, no. Again, does that mean government in the USA must serve the black community? No. The question is, does it? And the answer from anyone, including Barack Obama, if honest, is no. Serving a community is not about a black president or representation, is not about inspiration said president will bring. It is about function. What are you doing for that community? If any community is not being served, then the government isn't working for them. It is a simple truth that doesn't delete or deny any racial leanings, but it is still the truth. Some will say if you don't think of business, fiscal enterprise, or customers as any phenotype and just see Statian business or finance, American business or finance, then you don't need the black community to have a fiscal condition, because the black community is part of the human community in the USA that include all people in the USA. And I say, if you think that way, you are correct. I add, that is not a wrong way to think. I repeat, if you think that way, you are correct. I add, that is not a wrong way to think. But does that answer the question? Does the black community have fiscal reparations and opportunity in modernity? And the answer is still, even considering no phenotype or other race in finance, no. Again, does that mean fiscal activity in the USA must exist strongly in the black community? No. The question is, does it? And the answer from anyone, including Oprah, if honest, is no. Fiscal activity in the community is not about having a black billionaire or representation, or is not about inspiration said billionaire will bring. It is about function. What fiscal opportunities exist to that community? If any community's fiscal activity is being blockaded from a negatively biased heritage, which only black people in the USA have, then their fiscal activity is being blockaded, and that doesn't delete or deny any racial leanings, but it is still the truth. If you bring the two ideas from Shirley Chisholm's side, Martin Luther King Jr. together, you get only one question. Why doesn't a black party to governance exist in the USA? Shirley Chisholm spoke to finance, but the black community in the USA from enslaved times to modernity tried every financial or fiscal activity, legal or illegal, imaginable. We talk about Tulsa, Oklahoma and Black Wall Street. We talk about Motown. We talk about Madam C.J. Walker. We talk about black communities in New York, Los Angeles. We talk about black farms in the Deep South. Black people have done everything financially possible. It still isn't undoing the truth. Every fiscal activity, legal or illegal, imaginable by black people from the enslaved times before the war between the states to modernity has been tried, while a growing fiscal inequality, side whites kept accounting higher and still is going on today. The black community in the USA is fiscally poor on average. That is the simple truth. Again, it does not mean black people do not own businesses. It does not mean that black communities are not active. But the fiscal legacy is not being undone, and because finance factors in time, it cannot be undone outside equalizing. The black community must have financial advantage. That is a truth that no level of hard work can undo. MLK Jr. spoke to governmental restriction. But the black community in the USA from enslaved times to modernity tried every attachment to white governmental structures imaginable, while never getting a governmental reply that led to a modern disenfranchisement to government at all municipal levels in the USA. The black community in the USA has never been serviced to its benefit solely. That is the simple truth. I repeat, the black community in the USA has never been serviced to its benefit solely. That is the simple truth. It does not mean black people shall not be elephants or donkeys, or that black people shall not vote for elephants or donkeys. Black people are free to be elephants or donkeys, free to vote for elephants or donkeys, any phenotype, any gender, any religion. But the governmental legacy is not being undone. And cause government is a creature to repetition, it cannot be undone outside a change in government activity toward the black community. The black community must be served by agency in government. That is a truth that no level of hard work can undo. A black party to governance is the one thing the black community has not tried in the USA. All matters of finance have been tried and all connections to white parties to governance have been tried, such that in modernity, black billionaires or multimillionaires exist, while most black people are financially, fiscally pitiless, and are totally inopportune financially. In the same modernity, black presidents as donkeys, while black chairmen of the Joint Chiefs of Staff as elephants existed, while most black people feel totally disconnected to government, are totally disconnected to their municipal government at all levels, city, local, county, state, federal. Now, obvious online questions are, where are you? Why aren't you on a ticket? Why don't you start a black party to governance? Are you black? Honest questions. No question is right or wrong. The truth is, I am black. I live in the USA. I have the mental or physical ability to start the black party to governance. Yes. Yes, I have the ability, mentally or physically, to start a black party to governance. Right now, yes. I do not have the fiscal ability to start a black party to governance. Yes, I'm, quote, broke. Thinking of Robin Williams, actually, oddly enough, in Robots, I'm broke. I did not post this, though, to initiate a black party of governance led by me. I admit a selfish reason. I love Shirley Chisholm. She is one of the best black leaders, in my opinion, especially from New York City. I learned that Viola Davis will play her in a film. I love Viola Davis as a thespian or as a physical specimen. I repeat, I love Viola Davis as a thespian or as a physical specimen. I like her. I want the film that she may be doing to do greatly financially or culturally, leading to great or positive things for Viola Davis or the name of Shirley Chisholm. But Shirley Chisholm was not about inspiration or representation at her core. For me, her core was about function, and that desire to function does not exist in the government to the black community per its needs. Thus, how to make it happen. More black elephants or black donkeys will not change a thing. A new party, one made from the black community to the black community, is what will make function possible. On Martin Luther King Jr. Day, I recall a man who was murdered fighting to get a better labor situation for black sanitation workers from a local municipal government in the USA. But to paraphrase Kwame Ture, some know as Stokely Carmichael, MLK Jr. knew that being a black elephant or black donkey would only lead to one being an agent to the system, and the system will uphold the governmental or financial disadvantages from the past. The problem is, if the system is broken, if the system is dysfunctional, if the system can't be fixed, then it needs to be changed. But the change requires a new entry, not a manipulation. This is where the Barack Obama, the Jesse Jackson position is flawed. A new animal aside the elephant or the donkey is needed. The one truth about fiscal capitalism is that you need money to do anything. I repeat, the one truth about fiscal capitalism is that you need money to do anything. I will not deny the way I am feeling. If I had money, I would consider it. But I do not have the money. Sequentially, all I can do is offer a suggestion, and whomever wants to listen or be inspired or guided from it can be. That in this thought. Thank you for your time. I am Richard Murray. I am in the African American Literary Book Club, linked in the video description. Please join me or share your thoughts there, as guest comments are allowed.